Hello and welcome back to the Crystal Vision podcast. I am your host, Olivia Clare, and today we're talking all things marketing. So, in a world where we've got bro marketers and sort of sleazy sales tactics and those automated funnels that just get you in and never ever stop sending you emails, we're kind of flipping the script and we're going to talk about heart-centered marketing and what that really means and how we can use that in our business to make more money doing more of the things that we actually love. Maura Navin from Lila Blue marketing expert, is going to be joining us today to talk about heart-centered marketing and so much more. I cannot wait for you to dive into this episode. Please make sure to leave a review as well, and come and chat with me on Instagram at Olivia the Integrator and tell me what you learned from this episode and what your key takeaways were, so we can continue to bring you really good, inspiring, informative content. Without further ado, here's the episode. Hello and welcome to the Crystal Vision podcast, where we dive deep into the strategies and energetics of business, money, and mindset mastery so as to create the next generation of wildly wealthy women. My name is Olivia Clare and I'm a serial entrepreneur who is obsessed with giving you all of the tools that you need to create your crystal clear vision of success. Each week, you will hone in on your unique zone of genius and embody the highest version of yourself to reverse engineer your way to your dream life. If you're ready to let go of the hustle and effortlessly call in more money, more growth, and more fulfillment, stay tuned. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Crystal Vision podcast. We are here with Maura from Lila Blue Marketing. Did I say it right? Lila Blue.
Did. Yeah.
It's so pretty. It's such a pretty name. Maura, welcome to the podcast. How are you going today?
Things are great. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be here with you. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're going to talk about marketing. I love marketing. I toss and turn between marketing and ops. I feel like they work together, but I think there's a real soft spot in me for marketing. And I want to hear about your experience with marketing because you have a corporate background. How has your approach to marketing changed from when you worked in corporate to how you approach marketing now?
That's a fantastic question. And I think, it's interesting. I came right out of corporate when I started Lila Blue. But before that, I was in nonprofit, which for me was where I felt like I belonged, right? It was very much like doing good, helping others, regardless of the organization that I was a part of. But shifting, what I experienced in corporate was this drive to compete coming from outside of the marketing team, right? It was sort of this, well, our competitors are saying this, and we've got to do this, and this is what the numbers say. And one thing about me is I don't love numbers, which, I mean, it's sort of like a curse in the marketing world, I suppose, because everybody's very marketing driven, right? That's how you prove your worth, your ROI. It's numbers, numbers, numbers. And I hate numbers. I was never a kid who loved math. It just was not, did not work for me. So I always had a slightly different approach to it and a much more collaborative approach to marketing. When I started that position, that last corporate job as the head of marketing, it was very much a partnership with the sales team, which hadn't really happened before in that particular setting. And that's what made the difference for that year and the following year for the business. It was a much more tell your story approach, show up and share what's actually working. Let's not worry about what they're saying about us, because if we believe that we have the better product and we believe we're delivering the better service, let's talk about that, right? It reminded me of my days rowing crew in high school where the coaches would tell you to keep your eyes in the boat, right? Like focus on what you're doing, focus on where you're going. Don't worry about the boat next to you. Just row your race. And I feel like marketing is a lot like that.
Yeah, I like that approach. I oftentimes, when people ask me like my biggest advice when it comes to business, I always say, have a look at what you're doing really well and do more of it. Because I think we can get so caught up in what everyone else is doing. How do we stay with the trends versus like, hang on a second, there's something in here that's working. I just need to do more of it and do it on a bigger scale, and not change it. Like, not, you know what I mean? So yeah, I totally relate.
It's so funny that you say that because so fast forward, right? And a couple years into Lila Blue, marketing is what I do, right? It's what I help other people with. And at that time, it was before I had really gone 100% into strategy and coaching in the marketing space. And I was still doing a lot of projects for clients, a lot of implementation. And I was starting to hate marketing. And I remembered showing up to this weekend with my business coach and, like 40 of my peers and saying, hey, I'm really struggling with this. And they were like, wait, well, this is what you do. Like, this is not good. And I took those 2 days to really bring my focus back to what I do love about it, right? Like what's going well instead of trying to do all the things, right? When you're in that space of like, oh my God, I have to be on every single platform and do all the things, nobody can enjoy that, at least not sustainably.
Yeah, it's such a shift when it's like, let's fix what's broken. We have to fix everything to like, oh, something's working. Let's just go for it and do more of it. So I love that. I feel like it might tie in, but I'm curious to hear because you describe yourself as a heart-centered marketing coach. What does heart-centered mean and how does that look or how is that embodied in marketing?
So it's interesting, right? Like marketing, I think from an external perspective is not, I don't think people would automatically think like, oh, it's so warm and fuzzy and heart-centered, right? It's like cutthroat and we're out there and we're saying things.
Yeah.
And for me, a heart-centered approach to marketing is really one that keeps your values and your passions at the front of what you do, right? Stay in touch with your why, right? We all have a why for what we do. And especially, I love to work with small business owners and entrepreneurs. We're usually pretty passionate about what we're doing. It's kind of all consuming. And so being heart-centered is really focusing on the positive aspects. What did I say? When I first started, it was I loved to work with people who were doing good in good ways, right? Like they wanted to do things in a way that felt good and that felt right. And that all just works together, right? And so that, to me, heart-centered is really that kind of approach where you're focusing on what's real, what's positive, what's good, and not always sparking people's fear, right? Or playing off of their pain points in a negative way. It's really positive and forward moving.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I like that. And I think there's so much power when you get to have your own business that you get to choose who you want to work with and choose the types of people that, you get to help. And yeah, it's a powerful thing to be able to say, I only want to work with people who are heart-centered or who approach their own businesses in a heart-centered way. It's the best, actually. It's just the best. Okay. I'm so excited to hear the answer to this, and I hope it's not something that I've personally fallen into, but what do you find is the most misunderstood thing about marketing?
That's a really good question. That it's all spin and lies.
That's interesting.
That's from the corporate side of it, right? And that I think is that's a little bit of shade that comes from the corporate side, like bigger marketing, right? Is that it's all a game. It's trickery in trying to get you to believe something to make a purchase, right? I think from the doing marketing side, I think a lot of folks who may have had that impression of marketing now being on the entrepreneur side, where our job is first to be marketers, right? Nobody will know what we do unless we market it. And I think the fear for a lot of small business owners and entrepreneurs is that they don't want to seem too salesy. They don't want to fall into that, And what I say is it's not something that's easy to necessarily fall into if you just follow what feels good. Like, what is natural for you? Where do you show up naturally? Like, what kind of marketing feels good? Do more, like you said earlier, right? Do more of that. That's what works.
Yes, that's so important because I feel like this is a mistake that I see a lot of people make when they first start out is feeling like they need to be in all the places. So we need to have the Instagram, we need to have Facebook as well, and LinkedIn, and the website, and the podcast, and TikTok, just to throw it in there, but also make sure you're doing email marketing. And have you tried Pinterest? And it's like when you put all that together, you get so overwhelmed that I think strategy is really it comes down to sometimes discernment about what is actually working and getting really clear on that and choosing to stick with that even when you see other people doing different things to you.
Yes. 100%. 100%. It has to, there are certain things I don't enjoy doing. Right. And sometimes I get sucked in, even I get sucked back in to I should probably do this. Like I should do more of it. And I'm like, you know what? It's not when I show up, like, okay, for example, I was really pushing myself to come up with a particular type of post. Right. I was like, I should really do one of these. I haven't done one in a while. Like lots of writing and I am so much better if you just throw me on a video on a camera and have me like throw captions up to it. You're going to get so much more out of me because you're going to get my energy. You're going to be able to tell how I feel about what I'm saying, right? There's just so much more in it. And so for me, it's so much easier to kind of show up on the fly. This is coming from a recovering perfectionist though. Like it used to take me forever to hit publish on anything because it had to be perfect. And I'm like, no one's ever going to know who I am if I wait for everything to be polished and perfect. So they got to a certain point where I just have to let it go.
Yes, that's it's interesting. I wonder how many people who do, and marketing's one of those things where you cannot ever be perfect. Like you always have to be repositioning a strategy. You always have to be editing and fixing, and it's really hard to be a marketer and to also be a perfectionist because exactly like you said, it's like, oh, it's never ready. And I do love the concept that 70% done is perfect because if you in marketing as well, if you wait until it's perfect, usually things have moved and you've got to redo it anyway.
Yeah, it's very much iterative, right? Like it's almost like software development, right? It's constantly changing. There's always a new algorithm, there's a new trend, there's something that everyone else is trying and you're like, where do I even find that? I don't.
Yes, honestly. But in saying that, when other people are doing the trends, also make sure you're sticking to what feels good for you. Um, so if someone's thinking about their marketing, what sort of, I guess, your first steps? Like marketing is such a broad topic. If someone's thinking, okay, I've got a personal brand, I've got a business, I want to market it, how would you sort of lead them into what it is and what steps they should be taking in order to market their business with obviously the end goal being getting more sales?
Sure. The way I do it when I start with a new client is really, it's a little bit woo. But we sit down and visualize where they want to be, right? What do they envision their day to day looking like? Who are they working with? Who do they get to serve? Who do they get to who lights them up, right? Who is that ideal client? And what do they get to do with them, right? What do they absolutely love doing? And once you get clear on that, then you get to really dig in and build a marketing plan and a strategy that not only works for you, but is actually going to reach who you want it to reach. Therefore, you're kind of eliminating all that extra clutter, right? Because when we talk to everybody, because especially when you're just starting out in business, you're like, I want to help everybody. I want all the clients, all the customers, send them all my way. And the truth of the matter is that not everyone's going to be a fit. Not everyone's going to like what you're selling or what you do or how you do it, right? There are some people who want totally numbers driven marketing strategy. I'm not going to be that person for you, right? Like I'm going to get you there, but we're going to go about it a different way. So I want to speak to those people, right? I want to use the words and the messaging that get that across and that really reach the people by letting them know that hey, here I am. This is what I do. This is how I can help you. And you're the right person if. So once we get through all of that and you know who your ideal client is, the rest of it kind of falls into place, right? Because you know who they are. You can figure out where they're hanging out online. And, you just show up where it feels right and you're going to find people that are your fit.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And it's a great question to ask yourself first. Like, who do I want to work with? What type of business do I want to create that complements my life versus, and it's sort of a backwards approach in a way, because I think we're taught a bit with marketing. It's like solve people's problems. So just go out there and find a problem and solve it. Doesn't matter if you like the niche that you're in, doesn't matter if you like the product that you're creating, just make money, and that's the way to do it, versus, really being able to ask yourself what type of life you want to create and how your business fits into that. And, it's no fun if you're making a lot of money but working with people that you don't like. It's just
being miserable is not worth it.
No, not at all.
It's funny too, right? It brings up this concept of like firing clients. Right. And as a small business owner, especially when you're first starting, I'll never forget the first client. I was like, you know what? I think we're good. I think we're good. And it was not a fit. It didn't feel good. And you start resenting, right? Like it's either you couldn't pay me enough to continue working like this, or it's not, when you're asking for strategy, but you're not following it, right? You're not putting in the work to do the things. Right. There are some times where I'm like, I don't want to take your money because you're not getting what you need. And I'm starting to feel negative about it. Right. And every time you sort of end that relationship and create space, better clients come in. Right. So more clients come in better. So that void gets filled with something that's better.
Absolutely. Yeah. And time again, it comes up, and it's very difficult in the moment to make that decision, but it's totally worth it. Because then, exactly like you said, you attract people that are the type of people that you do want to work with. And you're like, oh my goodness, this is what I was doing it for. This is why I didn't want to work with that person, so that I can work with people that do really light me up and are heart-centered, if that's something that's valuable to you. So tell me about you. What is it that you're currently passionate about and what's lighting you up, whether it's in life or in business?
There's a lot. It's a pretty busy season right now. My daughter is actually graduating from high school tomorrow.
Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
My oldest daughter. Thanks. So, right now, what lights me up is really cherishing every moment, because I know in 2.5 months, she's going to be at the other end of the East Coast in college. And it's a plane ride away. And so right now I'm sort of passionate about that. I just finished a kitchen renovation project, which has been sort of all consuming. I love doing things. It's funny. I had this sort of like aha moment the other day. I love doing things with my hands, right? I used to design jewelry and make jewelry, and I've always been kind of crafty. And, now being older and having a home and a yard, and I love that kind of stuff. Because I think my work is much more my brain. It's not like I'm not creating pretty things in my work. I'm helping other people create awesome things. But so I really find that need to like do stuff. So yeah, that's sort of been the all consuming part. But I think in terms of business, what I'm passionate about now, our businesses grow, they evolve just like we do. And I'm really loving the fact that I embrace this sort of woo side and this kind of ability I have to pull things out of people and help people really articulate what it is that they want to do. How do they want to impact the world? How can we translate that into your messaging or how you show up, and really helping people embrace it for themselves and show up so that they can build the life they want. Have the business you want, have the family and free time that you want, have all the things, right? All the experiences. How do you can build it the way you want to build it. You have the opportunity to kind of get clear and work through it. And I have one client who I love her to death. She's like, you're my muse. I'm like, it sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, I like that.
How does one market that? How does one market that?
Yes.
Right? But it's sort of this new sort of season of embracing it and being like, yeah, you know what? The magic that I'm going to help you create is not in a written plan or a written document, right? It's on how you approach it and how you feel about the work you do. And are you ready to show up? And I love it. I love when someone is sort of in that place of like, do I quit? Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to start a business? I need something different. When they go from that to, in a matter of weeks, being like, just rocking it and showing up and revenue's coming in and they're happy and their energy's up, and like helping somebody create that for themselves is powerful. And I love it.
Yes. Oh, it's so juicy. Like, I don't know any other word to describe it, but just that sort
I
of,
love that.
yeah, that feeling like of, it's almost like, I don't know why this image came to me, but like, it's like a chicken running around with its head cut off. Maybe it's because I've experienced that. It's like, oh my God, what do I do? And then just being so centered and just like having faith and just like being really in your work like that. I can feel that shift. So, I'm passionate about that too. I was like, oh, that feels so good. Amazing. What is it that you're currently working on? Are there any exciting offers or any programs or anything like that that you want to share with the audience?
Sure. Actually, there's two things that are relatively new. One is seasonal, right? We're coming into summer here. And for a lot of people, it's that, okay, my kids are going to be home. I've got vacation. Like I've got vacation planned in August. So how do I do it all, right? How do I keep my business running? How do I get things set up in like 8 short weeks, less than 8 weeks, get set up so that I can actually unplug and enjoy my kids for those 2 weeks? How do I do this? And so I love doing like bite-sized strategy sessions. And literally, we're calling them Summer Untangled. And they're just one-on-one sessions, right? And we kind of do a little pre-work. We get together and we just crank through like what it is. And you walk away with an actionable, strategy, something that's easy to implement, doable in a short time frame, and gets you to where you want to be. And then we do follow up, right? So it's very compact. But it's like that bite size, like, you know what, this is exactly what I need right now. I just need to fix this one little thing to set me up. And then, you know what? Come September, if we need more, we revisit it. And that's great. But you get this like totally like impactful mini coaching session and you leave with this is what I have to do. And there we go. So that's super fun because it's sort of like my one-on-one coaching work, but on a really tiny scale. Not quite the mastermind, which is like, I love my mastermind. The best people come in and out of that container. And so that's something I run. I'm launching another version of that, runs for 6 months. So that's coming up. And then because my daughter's going to school in Florida, I host retreats, Life Untangled retreats, which is this sort of, I'm going to use the word juicy because I really like that. It's juicy, it's a few days, a few overnights, and it's really a place for women who are kind of in this space where they're craving clarity. They're either at a place where they want to transition their career, right? They're done running the rat race and they want to make that same leap that I made years ago. Right. Or they just need some clarity on like, what's my passion? Like, what is my purpose? Why am I here? And so it's really an opportunity for us to gather in a really beautiful setting. And it's going to be in Miami this fall.
Wow, how
Yeah, it's kind of exciting.
exciting.
I've done them in New England in the past, like on the water or in the mountains. And so now we're going to take it on the road and go to Miami. But it's really a time where we nourish ourselves, right? We do all the things. We do energy healing and massage, and we do physical activities, and we do something wild. We'll cook a meal together. We'll go, it'll be either surfing or hiking. Some peak probably won't be hiking high mountains in Miami, but we'll find something.
Yes. Oh, it sounds so good. I might just fly in. I'll just come for the weekend. Imagine that.
That would be
Oh, it's so
awesome.
far away. I'm
Stay
so,
longer.
yeah, I'll stay for a little while. No, I love all of that. Sounds so exciting. I love the idea. I love to use the word untangled as well. Like, it's just like, oh, imagine someone just coming in and just pulling everything apart and like making it all nice and organized and then handing it back to you. Like that's the vibe that I get, which is so good. Um, okay, this is my last question. So, what is your crystal vision for the future? So, without revealing too much, what is it that you're working towards so that in a few years' time we'll be able to listen back and go, oh, she's manifested it all?
So without, I mean, I don't care if I reveal all the details of what it is.
You can reveal it all if you want.
I
Yeah.
would say in a few
Give
years.
it to
In a
us.
few years. So for me, a few years is actually a really big, there's going to be a big shift, right? When my second daughter goes off to college. My boyfriend and I live in two different states. We are an hour apart from each other. We have four teenage daughters between us. Um, and so he's got two, I've got two, and our girls are our world, and for each of us. And he's not uprooting his, I'm not uprooting mine. So in a couple of years, there's going to be this sort of merger of living spaces and kind of creating a new home, right? It's kind of like taking that partnership to a different level. So there's that on the personal side, which I think is going to be wild. I will say it. I'm going to be living on water. I don't know if it's going to be a lake or an ocean, but I will be living on water. That much I know. Um, and for me, really, it's having an impact and helping women and men on a bigger scale to really know and understand that anything is possible and they have everything they need within them, right? That transitions happen in life and you can come out the other side of them. You will come out the other side of them in a better space, right? Whether it's divorce, a lot of my sort of the past 8-10 years of my life, it was, I started a business. I lost my mom. I had cancer. I got divorced, right? Like it's all of the things. And through each one of them, I emerged, God, thank God, stronger and more empowered to help other people. And my passion and my purpose was just much more resolved. And so I think for me, it's having an impact in that way on a bigger scale. So is that speaking more? Is that sharing my story so that other people can be like, I got this, right? She did it. I got it. And I think that for me that's what's in my crystal ball. That's my crystal vision. It's right. It's a book. It's speaking. It's helping more people um, follow their passion. More of the good stuff. Yes, please.
Yes. Oh, I can see it. I see the vision too. So I feel like we'll be able to listen back and just, I don't know, see it all play out. Are there any downloads coming through, anything I didn't ask you or anything you want to get off your chest before we mark this episode as complete?
We covered a lot, and it was actually really nice to talk about sort of this morphing of marketing, because I think when I first started, it was, oh my God, is anybody going to buy this? Right? Is anyone going to believe that marketing can be done in the way that I do it? Like, who else is going to, like, who am I taking along on this like journey to change the way the world thinks about marketing? Who's coming with me? And just to look back and reflect and see that, yeah, it's doable. And I've helped so many people do it in that way and market their businesses and grow their businesses and really build what they want. Like that, it's nice to stop and kind of look back and be like, yeah, it's totally doable.
Yes, you did it.
Still doing it.
You
right?
did it. There it is.
We'll
Yeah,
take it
true.
to that next level.
It's still
We'll take it to that
going.
next level for sure.
I love it. Okay. Tell us, where can people find you? All the links will be in the show notes, but where can people stalk you or work with you or hang out with you?
I would say the most up to date is on Instagram. And on Instagram, I am back to my maiden name. It's Maura_Navin. And that's Navin. And you'll see that I'm still transitioning from my married name back to my maiden name. So it is a process. It does. So I have this sort of dual identity. ironically, I never lost my maiden name. I just moved it to my middle name. So it's really not that big of a change. But I think it's a feeling, right? So that's the best place to find me. But you can also see my website at lilablue.com. I'm on Facebook as well and LinkedIn.
Perfect. And she's in all the spots. You just have someone who's like, bang, 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 bang. That'll be me after this episode. Sorry if you can hear scratching as a little doggy at the door that wants to come in. I will go and deal with that. But thank you so much for joining me on this episode and for sharing all of these insights about marketing. I feel like I have a better understanding, and I don't know, it was really fun to chat with you. So I'm so thankful that you came on the show today.
Oh, I'm so grateful for the opportunity. It was so nice to meet you, and I look forward to talking with you again soon.
Yes. Thanks everyone for listening. See you next week.